Okay, awesome. Well, I am Rishi for everyone that's just joining. I'm one of the founders of Hotplate. Hotplate is an online ordering platform built for independent chefs and bakers that sell food online. So, during COVID, thousands of bakers and folks like y'all started selling food on Instagram as a way to just generate a side income or, just kind of express their culinary creativity. And since then, we've been really grateful to be used by thousands of chefs and bakers across the country. Um, Met Rachel a couple months ago because she, is a beast in the micro bakery world, known by a ton of folks. And I think, Rachel, you were also looking for a platform yourself, right? To sell your.
Yeah, yeah, I was on maternity leave for I took like an extended maternity leave and my old process for doing my treat boxers wasn't that great. Like I had a Shopify store and I had it set up to where people would purchase a box and then I had to email them a form and then there was like Google Docs and everything. And so I you your hot plate randomly followed me when I did the podcast with Baking for Business. And then I looked at the Instagram and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is perfect. So yeah, I signed up for Hot Plate and I started telling everyone I could about it.
Well, amazing. And yeah, no, here we are. We've done one of these webinars before. Turned out really well. And so just really excited to be back here and help every single one of y'all kickstart 2025 by just talking you through hot plate, but also more importantly, just strategies to kind of ensure that your baking business is successful in the new year.
Hmm.
Cool. Rachel, I can share the presentation because I know
Okay,
um,
yeah.
I got you. Don't worry. Okay. Can y'all see my screen? Is everyone able to see?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Excuse me. Also, yeah, really apologies for the how stuffed up I am. Uh, cool. So, Rachel, thank you so much for putting this together as well. Um,
Yeah.
the goal of this is to kind of walk everyone through how to make sure that your bakery business stands out and how you can increase your sales and focus on marketing in the new year. Marketing feels like a very scary thing to a lot of people. I feel like, right? You're kind of doing this to sell the food, but when it comes to getting customers and marketing, it can feel very overwhelming. So I think the goal of this is just to kind of talk through some tips and strategies that folks like Rachel have seen, Rachel and I have seen that can help you be successful. So, like I said, I'm Rishi, run Hot Plate. We work with thousands of chefs and bakers across the country. Also, one second, sorry, I just want to make sure. Yep. Um, Perfect. Yeah, work with thousands of chefs and bakers across the country. And I've seen tons of bakers start a business on Instagram, see it blow up or see it scale to new heights and are able to make a sustainable income from doing this every year. And it's absolutely changed their lives. And yeah, would not want to be doing anything else. I think it's amazing. I think it's the beginning of a new culinary revolution in the United States where food is going to be made more and more by people and less from faceless corporations. So yeah, I just think that I'm really excited to be here, and I think that Rachel and I are gonna walk you through how to help your home bakery shine, set up your first hot plate event, and just share practical tips to grow your community and elevate your business. Rachel, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think I want to really talk a little bit about um why this is a year for, like you said, more people are looking for connection with small businesses and they want homemade items. So I think focusing on brand is going to be a big thing this year. And then that's what we're going to talk about a little bit.
Kind of already touched on this, but with Hot Plate, we work with some incredible bakers. Would highly recommend checking out like Sarah's Sourdough, and Little Pearl Breads on Instagram. And then these are great examples of like what it can look like to run a business like this, be really successful. And I have hundreds of other folks I work with that fit this model. So, I'm always available to chat as well if you want any examples of what it's like to run a business like this successfully. But Rachel is the queen of this. Like I think that you're in good hands working with her as well. So, um, totally agree with her on this year being the year for branding and growth. Um, yeah, I think that Rachel, you kind of touched on this already, but there's so much increasing demand for like artisan products, products being made locally is also
Mhm.
increasing quite a bit. Um, and so having a really solid brand and having a really solid presence on social media and being someone that appears authentically as like a human and as a not just a yeah, and as like a faceless business is going to really position you well for growth um, in a thriving market. So I think, Rachel, and you can expand on this a little bit, consumers are more and more motivated to support local businesses in their community. And so I think getting the word out there and establishing yourself in your community as a trusted, authentic, you know, maker of sourdough bread is gonna is going to be why people buy your bread over buying bread at like a local store, right? It's not just the quality of ingredients, it's not just that it's like made with yeast, right? But it's also you and your presence. I think that will really shine through.
Yeah, we want to focus this year on what makes you unique, what makes you stand out in your community. And the reason that I wanted to partner up with Hotplate is because Hotplate is going to give you the tools that you need to do that. They have the easiest system I've ever dealt with for doing orders like this. Um, and one thing that I specialize in is like the pop up style ordering system instead of custom orders. So this is something that's really given me control over my scheduling and like my personal life and my family balance. So I know that I have a lot of bakers that are like wanting to achieve the same thing. So I want everyone to um, think. Hold on one second. Oh my gosh, my phone's dying.
Oh no.
Uh, Hold on, let me grab a charger.
Fine. While you're doing that, I can expand a little bit. Um, yeah, so the thing that makes Hotplate different from other ordering platforms is that most platforms are built for restaurants and they're built for ways of selling that are not specific to what you as a micro baker are probably going to be doing, which to Rachel's point is the pop-up style pickups. So, with traditional platforms like Square, you're kind of always you have a fixed menu, right? That you're always like opening and you're always like editing this like fixed storefront. And with Hotplate, you can set up events. So like let's say like you're a pop-up or you're a baker, excuse me, and you're doing like a weekly porch pickup with Hotplate, you can like, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit. You could set up an event, which is really easy. You can say like, "Hey, I'm doing a porch pickup this Friday. I want the orders to open on Monday and close on Wednesday." Right? You could say, "I want pickups to be on, you know, Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, or whatever." You could set up the menu items for just that event and then publish. So the beauty of that is like you know, you could A, set it and forget it. So you're like creating this sale for, let's say, next Monday. Well, next Monday, you don't have to like go and edit your storefront, right? Which is what you normally have to do on a platform like Square. Two, you can set limits on your inventory so you're not overselling. And unlike custom orders, you're allowing more and more people to experience your food and you're making way higher margins. So we hear from a lot of folks that switch from doing custom orders to doing like pop-up style orders that they're able to feed more people, which is kind of the whole goal of doing this, and they're able to make more money. And so I really think that you know, doing this sort of like pop-up style event-based ordering is a huge way for you to not only like build a reputation and again build that consistency in your community, but also just offer a wider variety of goodies to more folks in your community as well. Um, so that's kind of like what Hotplate specializes in. We started because we talked to a lot of folks that were selling on Instagram, and they're like, "Hey, I have to spend so much time taking orders via DM, handling payments via Venmo. Um, it just got to be really cumbersome, and it's just a lot of manual work that's involved in managing a business on Instagram. So by switching over to Hotplate, people are able to set a schedule, right? They're able to train their customers that, hey, every single week this link is going to go out and my orders are going to open every Monday. So just be on the lookout on Monday for that link. As opposed to before, people are always DMing you, you're always taking orders, you might be always baking, but you're kind of like you're kind of like pulling your hair a little bit, right? So Hotplay kind of allows you to take some of that control back and really just streamline your business in a way that saves you a lot of time and headache. Like the average chef and baker that uses Hotplate tells me that they save an average of 3 to 5 hours a week on just all the manual work they would normally be dealing with if they were doing this manually. So definitely think that if you're gonna get set up in the new year, I'd recommend doing sort of like the pop up style event based ordering that Valley Girl does. And that is like setting up a hot plate site, saying like, "Hey, I'm taking orders. I'm gonna start taking orders on Monday. I'm gonna close the orders on Thursday. Pickups are like Friday and Saturday, and this is just the schedule I'm gonna have every single week." And building the consistency so people know like, "Hey, I need to subscribe to this person's Hot Plate storefront." So that's one other thing that you can do with Hot Plate that's amazing is once you customize your storefront, customers can put their phone number into your storefront, and we text them when the order is open. So a big thing on that is just being able to build up that customer base. So like because we're automating so much work for you, your job becomes less like how do I, you know, answer all these DMs and like track all these Venmo payments and like go through a spreadsheet and tally up this is how much of each item I need to make. And your job becomes more like how do I market my business? How do I get customers to subscribe to my storefront? How do I build that consistency and repeatability so that customers are always looking out for that link every Monday morning that says, "Hey, orders are now open. Click here to order." Right. And so I think like that is how we've seen people grow their business is by being consistent with their schedule, getting the word out there, and yes, making a really good product. Like there's no substitute for like amazing bread for sure. But I do think that and something this is something that Rachel could touch on in a little
Yeah.
I know that I know that you were looking for your charger, is that like because we automate so much stuff, a lot of your job shifts from back end administrative work to more like branding and marketing, right?
Yes. And I can go ahead and talk about this slide if you'd like.
For sure, that'd be great.
Okay. Um, so I put a lot of emphasis on people focusing on their brand. And I mean, not just what your logo is or your brand colors. I mean, what makes you stand out in your community? Do you have a niche? Do you have a unique selling point? Are you the only baker in your town that uses fresh milled flour? Do you specialize in gourmet cupcakes? Finding your niche is part of your brand, but also your story. People want to connect with you. So show your story, show why you love what you do. Um, and it's also how you bake and package your products. So you want people to see a picture or see your item in person and know, oh my gosh, Valley Girl made that. I recognize the branding. I recognize the way that she takes pictures of her products and posts them, the way that she talks online. You want your social media presence to be part of your brand too. So it's pretty much like a broad umbrella. Um, and that's another reason why I recommend Hotplate, because you can customize your Hotplate storefront, but also the ease of ordering for people is going to stand out to them. They don't have to DM you, they don't have to Venmo you, they don't have to Cash App you to order. it's all automated. So um, yeah, that's another thing I wanted to touch on. Sorry, my phone, the presentation on my phone is so small.
Oh, you're fine.
Um,
Do
oh,
you,
and I also think it's important to show people a little bit of like behind the scenes of your baking and things like that. So that's something I do on my stories a lot, just connecting with people, making sure that you're talking back to them in the comments on your posts, making engaging stories. That's something that I put together a year's worth of social media posts that I'm going to share for free at the end of this presentation. So something that I hope really helps you. Bakers have a million jobs. So if we can eliminate some of them, such as your ordering system and what to post on social media, that's my goal for this presentation today.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachel. I 100% agree with that. I think that um, something that is not appreciated enough is thinking about the customer journey as a customer, right? And
Hmm.
each step of that. And like, how can you, if you were a customer buying from you, how would you make each step of that entire process feel as seamless and as magical as possible? Both from
Hmm.
ordering from you, but also from the pickup process. Like I ordered jam from someone recently, and I was really amazed that when I went to pick up the jam, she had written me a handwritten thank you note. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
so crazy because like you just don't see that anymore. You know what I mean? Like so much of things these days are like very transactional, and they tend to be,
Mhm.
I don't know, tit for tat, or like, you just kind of want to get to the next step in your journey. But I think
Yeah.
some people, like, often what I find is if you take a step back and focus on making each customer feel like they're having a 10-star experience with you, that is actually what you need to grow your brand and take your business to the next level. A lot of bakers come to me, they're like, I want to get 100 customers buying from me every single week. And then I'm like, okay, well, do you have 10? Do you have 10 customers that buy from you every single week? Um, and do those 10 customers love your product? And do they love you? And I think like
And
yeah, that's something that like a lot of people take for granted, is that like the journey to scale begins with an incredible experience for an individual person.
hmm yeah.
So, um, kind of touched on this already. The setup flow for Hotplate's very easy. I'm also going to send out an email after this as well to everyone that registered. And I'm going to include a link to like a walkthrough. Um, and I'll also include a link to sign up for Hotplate, just so Rachel gets a little referral fee as well. She's amazing and just absolutely deserves it. So, yeah, if you want to sign up, that'd be amazing. But yeah, and overall, kind of touched on this already, but it's all about the experience. I think that delivering a really delightful customer experience is super important, especially nowadays. There's so many, especially since your business is so reliant on social media, there's so many like dopamine traps that people can go into, right? There's so many things that people can are getting offered that are, there's so many ads targeting people, that I think what people gravitate towards and what people buy are like authentic experiences, Um,
Yeah.
really thinking about the customer journey as an end customer, and also really talking to your customers and really asking them, how was it buying my bread this week, like sending out surveys, like being really hungry for data and being really curious about like what it's like as a customer, and really understanding like what about it do they love, what about it do they not love, and also encouraging them to share your business with their friends, because honestly, even Hot Plate, like we as a business have grown only through word of mouth. Like we have not spent a dime on marketing, and I think part of that is because we've just been really focused on making a good product that solves a problem for people, and just really like keeping that feedback loop very tight and understanding like what about the product people love, what about the product can be improved, and really just building based on that user feedback. I think that's true for any business, like whether you're a hot plate or whether you're a micro bakery, like consistently asking for feedback from folks, giving away free samples, even sometimes, and just really encouraging like referrals and leveraging social media is like how people have succeeded in this day and age.
Yeah. Ask people, literally ask people to take a picture of their order and tag you in it. It doesn't hurt to ask. A lot of people don't even think about doing that, but if you ask them to, they definitely will, especially if they loved the experience and your product.
Oh, 100%. I end every single, so at this point, I work in hot plate. This is actually, it's actually our fifth year, which is kind of crazy. I'm doing this, but um, I've been working on hot plate for 5 years. I have personally onboarded like 1,500 people to the platform at this point. And every single time I've onboarded someone, I've always ended the call by being like, and if you're open to tagging us when you post on Instagram, our Instagram is at Hotplate, totally optional, but it'd be super appreciated. I've said that single line probably 1,000 times, but it has been a huge source of growth for us because um, to Rachel's point, like people other if I had not asked them to do that, people wouldn't have even thought to do it. But just like asking people to tag us on their posts has just driven a lot of like word of mouth and top of funnel awareness for Hot Plate. So I really think it is super critical and very important that you give people very clear instructions on what to do. That's another thing that helps with sales is like thinking about your Instagram as kind of like a landing page for your business, right? So when I land on your Instagram, like, do I understand very clearly what this business is? So, okay, this is a micro bakery that's selling bread. Do I understand like how it works? Like, okay, so like in the bio, it says like they're going to be doing torch pickups every week and it says, oh, and it says click the link here to sign up for text. Okay, great. So I just need to click the link and sign up for text. Like people need to be told what to do and very explicitly what to do because otherwise they're
Yeah.
I think a lot of people assume the customer is a fundamentally like rational person that will understand you just implicitly, when in reality, like you want to make your Instagram as high converting as possible to the thing you want them to do. So like if I go on your Instagram, it should be very like in plain English, or you should even have like a pinned post that's like, this is how ordering works, or like this is how, my business works. And
Make it as simple as possible for people.
exactly. Because I mean, not at all gonna say it, but like even when I'm on Instagram, like I have the brain of a monkey. Like I'm just like clicking around and I'm just like going to different things and like I'm not thinking, you know what I mean? I'm not being like rational and I'm not thinking like critically. I'm just browsing, right? And so I'm using my unconscious brain. And so like you need to like fine tune your social media and your ordering and everything to be as simple as possible, but also as like high converting as possible. And the way to do that is by explicitly telling people what to do, if that makes sense.
Agreed.
Cool. Last thing I'll talk about, since I know we're also kind of on time, is challenges I see bakers face. So, five challenges that I see from a lot of folks is tracking things manually. So a lot of people, to start with, I don't think this is like the worst thing. Like if you're, just getting started and you have like four customers, you can definitely track that manually. But I think as you start to scale, handling all these DMs, double booking customers, like having people overselling a given day. Like I had a baker tell me recently that they're like, yeah, I had to like refund three customers because I didn't realize like I already sold 10 loaves of bread for the day and I can only do 10. And
Yeah. The worst when you also like forget about an order
yeah,
because
oh
you
my
have
God.
them in five different places and you're trying to like keep track of them all. That's the worst feeling.
I know for sure. Or like creating a prep list by hand. Like, man, I had someone who like got on a call with me and was almost about to cry because she was like, if I have to make another spreadsheet and just add up everything manually, like I'm going to I'm just gonna quit. So I just think like there's just a lot of manual work that goes into doing this, and I think that, again, I'm very biased, but I think using a platform like Hotplate is good because it's literally designed to automate that manual work for you, just so you don't have to worry about it. Um, Another thing I see from a lot of folks is like marketing inconsistently. So I think part of what I said before about making your social media as high converting as possible is also like establishing a consistent schedule and being very clear like as to what that schedule is. So a lot of times people will like, they'll do a sale one week and then they'll skip a sale. They might do a sale the next week or the week after, but on a completely different day. And they don't really communicate that to customers. And like, oh, like why am I not getting orders? And I think it's because like, you know, you need to ideally set a clear and consistent schedule every single week and market that to your customers. So again, I go to your bio and they're like, "Hey, I do porch pickups every Friday." And so if you want to order, orders open Monday, click here to sign up. And then it's like every single week, I'm getting that text on Monday. There's like this dumpling lady that lives near me, and I'm signed up to her hot plate storefront. And like the first week, I was like, "Oh, I don't really want dumplings." But like the second week, I got the same text at the same time, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want dumplings." And then the third week, I was like, I kind of want dumplings this week. So like, not everyone is gonna buy right immediately, but just having people signed up for those notifications and like getting them every single week at the same day and time, it has subconsciously trained my brain to kind of like expect the dumplings to show up on my phone every week.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Exactly. So, taking advantage of the fact that you can schedule events on Hot Plate, market them ahead of time. So, like when you create an event and the orders are going to open later than like the current time, there's actually a countdown timer that tells the customer when the orders are going to open. And so, the really cool part of that is I can go to your storefront. I can see that there's this event where the orders are going to open on Monday, let's say, and then I can actually put my phone number in, and that countdown timer kind of incentivizes me to put my phone number in. So another mistake I see from a lot of folks is scaling for your customers' needs, not your own. So, as you're scaling is a good problem to have, like you're really lucky if you're in a position where you're like, hey, I have 10 people that love what I'm making. Now let's get it to 20. Let's get it to 30. Let's get it to 40. The challenge that I'll see from a lot of folks is that they will kind of spread, like points three and four can kind of be tied together where like a lot of folks are like adding way too many items. Like someone will say, "Hey, I want a baguette," or like, "Hey, I want like a custom. I want like a walnut loaf," or "Hey, I want like a blueberry muffin," and then like people will do it, and then before you know it, they have like 10 items in their menu, and they're having to like manage and make 10 items. And honestly, the top sellers on Hot Plate actually typically have 1 to 4 items, and like some exceptions, like Sarah to sourdough and like Little Pearl Breads and stuff, they'll have maybe like 7, 8 items on their menu, but three of them are like a loaf, and then they're just like different variations of a loaf. And so what I'm trying to say is like as best as you can, keep your menu simple, keep your menu focused, and be known for like one type of product. So like, hey, I'm Valley Girl Kitchen and I make treat boxes. Okay, that's awesome. Like I know exactly what to expect from that, right? Or like, hey, Sarah to sourdough makes amazing sourdough. And it's like great. And then like all these other items on the menu are kind of just like a cherry on the top versus like, hey, I'm Rishi Bakes and I make like 12 different items. That's just like, oh my goodness. Like this is just like information overload?
Yeah, and that like also goes back to making it easy on the customer. Don't give them 15 and 20 things to choose from.
100%. 100%. And like, I guess the last thing I'll say, which kind of ties into all this too, is just like at any point, like not really knowing how your business is doing. I cannot tell you the amount of people I've talked to. I'm like, are you successful? Like, do you know if your business is successful? They're like, well, I have 40 customers. I'm like, do you like make profit? And they're like, not really. Like, I don't really know. And so I think that like, part of what it happens is like, especially if you're tracking things manually, can't really see how you're doing over time, right? And so using a platform like Hotplate, getting clear analytics and insights to see like, oh, like this is how much money I made in my last event, this is how many new customers I got, this is how many repeat customers I got. And like, okay, wow, so I clearly am like I have a really strong customer base that's continuing to like buy my food. So now I need to focus on marketing and getting new customers. Or like, hey, like I have a leaky bucket. Like customers are buying but not returning. So clearly I need to focus on like engaging with my repeat customers to understand what's going on. Like having an awareness of like where your business is at and like the holes in it is super critical in order to scale. But I think a lot of people, again, when you start, you kind of scale on just vibes, like if the vibe is like, oh, things are great, then like you kind of just go with that. But I do think like as you get into like managing 30 to 40 to 50 orders a week, it becomes really important to see those analytics of like how you're performing over time.
Yeah. And I had over 40 people sign up for Hotplate with my referral link. Only one of them has done their first event. So I'm really hoping that everyone takes time to think about their brand and how they want to present it to their community. Um, and if you need any help setting up for your first event, we can always, like myself or Rishi, can help you set it
Yeah.
up. So I just wanted to throw that out there too. I actually helped somebody create like their banner for their store last week. So that was a lot of fun. So if anybody is like, okay, I signed up, now what do I do? You're going to get the walkthrough in your email showing you exactly how to set up your first event and then also how to customize it. And also, I saw in the chat, Cheryl asked if there's a way to get customer feedback. You can get customer reviews now on Hotplate.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Sorry, because I presentation's done. But no, you nailed it, Rachel. And one really cool thing is that with Hotplate, you're not just getting these tools, you're also getting me, my team, and folks like Rachel in the community. And we're all here to make sure you're successful. So in the email that I send, I'll also include my link to my personal like, calendar. You can always book time with me. Happy to personally onboard you, walk you through the platform, get you set up. Um, to Rachel's point, I've hopped on many calls where I set up, and help people customize their storefront. And like I'm very much in line where I just want everyone to be successful and actually get Hoplite going. And I think it can feel kind of overwhelming to get started with something like this. But Cheryl, I see you nodding your head like you're like for sure. But I promise you, like it's very simple. Like I said, I'm biased. I'm one of the founders of Hotplate, but I'm not the most technical person myself. And so I understand like how it can feel to like go with a technology solution. You're kind of like by default expecting it to be clunky and like very overwhelming. So that's like not at all our intention. And part of the reason we love getting on these calls too is to get feedback on how you can make things simpler. But I promise you, if you're willing to get started with it and get going with it, I'm always available. My team is always available to answer any questions you have and like personally ensure that you're good to go. So don't feel like that should be a barrier at all to you crushing it and being successful this year. If anything, I want you to see Hotplate as like a partner or as like an assistant in this journey for you. And again, I'm really grateful that folks like Rachel agree with me. So um, yeah, well, very very cool. I saw that a couple of folks put questions in the chat, but I'm also happy to answer any questions people have. So I'm just going to go through and quickly respond to what everyone said in the chat. And then I'll happy to open it up. I also know we're over time. I know we had kind of booked this for like till I'm in Pacific time. I'm in California until like 9 p.m. the 9 a.m. Sorry, Pacific. But I know we're 10 minutes over. But if everyone has a little extra time, I'm happy to answer any questions, folks. So Jennifer, love that you're excited to get set up with Hot Plate. Um, people, yeah, it's crazy the customer support that people receive on other platforms is like booty. Sorry, but it's like really not good. And I hear you. So I hear that a lot. And one of the things I pride myself on is like we definitely have the best customer support in the industry, which I know, yes, is a small but growing industry, but like that will 100% continue. You have my word on that. Um, Jennifer, billing and payment, Rachel, thank you for answering that. But billing and payment does immediately happen when they sign up for an order. So when someone places an order on your Hotplate site, we use a platform called Stripe to process our payments. So Stripe is just a payment processor. And so whenever someone places an order, the order and the funds immediately hit your Hotplate account. Then at any point, whether it's like right now, it's like before or even after you start taking orders, you can just like put your bank account info in, and then initiate a withdrawal whenever you want to get your money, and you'll get it within 1 to 2 business days. Um, oh, Natasha, sorry if my volume was so low. Oh my God.
I know, I didn't see that until
Is everyone else able to hear me? I feel so bad. Oh my God. Okay, cool. So sorry, Natasha. I will also personally reach out to you, to kind of like make sure if you want to do a walkthrough or an onboarding. I'm happy to personally walk you through everything because I feel really bad. Sorry about that. Cheryl, yes, you can now get customer reviews. What I do see some people do is after an event closes, I'll see people send a text blast with Hotplate. Once someone signs up in your storefront, we not only send out the automated drop text before the orders go live, like we not only send out an automatic text before orders go live, but you can also send a text blast out to your Hot Plate subscribers. And so what some people do is after orders close, they'll just send out a Google form with like a survey link. And I would recommend doing that. That's something we're probably going to automate in the future as well, just so people can get feedback. But would definitely recommend sending out a survey via Google form in the meantime after orders close if you want to like collect feedback beyond just a review. Um, Leslie, definitely, again, I'm biased. I definitely think it's easy for older people to navigate. On the customer end, on setting up an event, you know, I think it's pretty easy. But again, I understand if like, I'm not definitely not the oldest person in the world. So that's why I'm always here. If you're feeling like a little overwhelmed or um, find that it's like difficult at all, I'll put on okay on the customer end. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I would definitely say it's easier than like using like Shopify, or any other platform like that as a customer. But um, again, I'm very biased and happy to talk through that with you if you find that like you start using it and people are having issues. Like, um, definitely, definitely let me know. I would love that feedback. Um, and then Angie, as far as like doing markets, it's a really good question. Um, Depending on what area you live in, I might just like recommend what I always tell people to do is Google like the markets near them and then reach out. Usually markets have a sign up form on their website for
Facebook events too.
Facebook events
Uh,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and also, yeah, again, so when I send an email out, I'll include the walkthrough video. I'll include uh, my link to my calendar. I'll also include our email and phone number. So you can always just text or call me if you have any questions. Again, it goes to me or my team. I'm a hustler. Do not worry. I answer the phone during like concerts, during holidays. Like, I just love working with y'all. So, um, also just got a lot of time off during the break. So, very glad to be back and happy to help you with anything like that. If you're trying to get into a market or something, like just let me know. Happy to do so.
Also, she said how to like word it. You can actually use like Chat GPT and ask
Yeah,
it to write you a email to an event coordinator asking how to become a vendor. Super easy.
ChatGPT is kind of magical. I will say it's kind of wild.
It's my
The
favorite unpaid assistant.
I agree. I agree. No, for sure. Does Hotplate work in or assist with shipping? So currently, Nicole, that's a great question. We actually don't currently. We're only focused on local pickup and delivery. Part of that is strategic right now. I mean, we're a startup, so we have to prioritize what to focus on. And our bet, like what we've seen, is that for food, there's more of an appetite, I think, for local pickups because then you get the food fresh. You're marketing to like your local like customer base that's like around your area. And that's honestly just like what most of the folks that use Hotplate do. So that's why we built it that way. I think at scale we might expand to support shipping, especially with things like merch, right? But in the meantime, right now we're mainly only focused on local pickup and delivery. Awesome. I'm open to questions again. I know we're a little over time, but if anyone wants to ask a question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Also, I put my stand store link in the chat. It's just stand.store/Valley Girl Kitchen. I have freebie ebooks on there for you guys. I have a year's worth of marketing, scheduling, stuff to post on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, what to post on your stories. I have some free recipes on there, a free pricing guide for beginners if you are trying to figure out how to price your stuff manually. I have that on there, and then I have a baking basics handbook as well. So I have some things, goodies on there for you guys.
Wow. Rachel came in swinging. This is awesome. I love it. Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
You're welcome, Marie. It was really fun to put together. I've actually been putting that marketing calendar together for like 6 months, and I never knew what to do with it. And I was like, this is perfect. I want to give it to all these bakers.
I love that. You are so sweet. Um, I am replying with her standout store link. That'll have the content calendar that she mentioned, and yeah, Elizabeth, of course, and yeah, thank you guys so much for taking an hour to hop on the call with me. Like, this is honestly incredible. Did not expect this turnout. Really,
Yeah, I hope this was like motivating and gave you some things to think about for the new year. Really focusing on your brand and all that encompasses and your customers' experience is going to be the big things that you should focus on this year.
for sure. Again, like the way the way I would end it off is just by saying like think like your customer. And if you're a customer and you're scrolling on Instagram and you're like coming across your brand, like, do you want to buy from it? Right. And like just thinking about like how you would make your customer feel proud and like want to buy your food. Awesome. Well, if that's it, thank you guys so much. Um, look out for that email later this afternoon. And we will go from there. I'm really excited to work with all of y'all. And happy 2025, guys. Happy New Year. Uh,
Thank you guys.
yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Bye.